everybody, and especially to those of you who want to do millions of things, you're interested in many topics, and maybe you are getting bored in the same job positions and you have millions of ideas and yet you don't take action on many of them. And this video also goes to those of you who keep criticizing because you really don't know how to choose one and only thing. Now, if any of this sounds like you, it is possible that you are a multipotential profile, and this can be either a problem or a super opportunity. It all depends on you and on your mentality around this. If this makes you curious, well, stay until the end, because today we are going to talk about multipotential profiles, how to know if you are one, how to capitalize on your potentials, and how to design a career so that you get the most out of your profile. So welcome to another episode of Mind Programming for Success, where we explore our mental potentials and we create possibilities for career success. Now, for those of you who are here for the first time, every week I'm launching a podcast episode, and if you prefer videos, we also launch the episode on YouTube. For many other information, you can also visit my website, jessicarojasliscano.com. So subscribe to something so that you don't miss any of these powerful mental programming for success. So let's get back to business. So what is the problem with the multipotential profiles? Nothing. There's really no problem. But society makes you think that there is a problem. The thing is that most people study for a degree, they specialize, and they start working in a life that is constant and with a coherent evolution. Now, this is what society accepts, promotes, and applauds. Everything out of line must be a problem. Well, no, there is no problem in exploring and exploiting other options. It is also welcome to change careers at some point, and also to try to have different sources of income and to diversify your professional life. So first of all, how do you know that you are multipotential? There are many signs that are for sure that exist in multipotential profiles. The first thing is on the behavioral perspective. They are super curious, they have many interests, they ask themselves many questions all the time. They're fast learners. They keep making synapses and associations when nobody else sees them. They come up with things very quickly, and everything turns out really well for them. At the skills level, they are these type of people who seem to be good at everything. Well, maybe not good at everything, but they are good at so many things that you might think they're good at everything. For instance, they're good in numbers, they have a very broad general culture, they remember everything, they are good at sports, they know how to dance, they have a social active life, they also know how to cook. Oh my God, they do everything. And everything seems to work out really well for them. Now, the downside is that most of them, they don't last long in a job position because they get bored very quickly. It also happens that they look for a training to change a career, and this happens a lot, but the new career doesn't really last long either. Now, for many, it happens that they have several job alternatives and they feel that they have to choose one thing only, which leads them to feel different, isolated, incomplete, and professionally dissatisfied. Now, I recently had a client in my coaching session who was obviously multipotential. She had part of her career was in consulting and merchant acquisition, that is hard finance. And she was also trained in architecture and interior design. And she was also a Kundalini yoga instructor. And she also prepared workshops for personal development training. Now, not to mention that she moved several times to different cities, and she speaks different languages. Now, the reason for coming to my coaching session, a classic one. I would like you to help me define what I really have to do and how to package what I've done in a single job position or function that is monetizable. Now, what happens? If she did one of these things separately, there's always a moment where either she gets bored or something is not 100% aligned with her personal values, or something doesn't really give her enough money, or maybe something is not concrete enough to make her feel useful, etc. Many reasons, there's always a but. Something doesn't work. Now, the reality is that a multipotential profile is very rich, and it needs many things to nourish himself or herself and to live to the fullest of the potential. Now, this makes them live in a conflict of choosing one thing, because that's actually what society is expecting, and that's what drains them. So first thing, conclusion. If you are a multipotential, accept yourself and accept your profile, because what you have is a rich source of skills, and with it you have multiple options. And second, it is best that you become aware as soon as possible that most likely you won't have a normal professional life, but instead a very diverse and dynamic one. Now, do you think you are a multipotential? Leave it in the comments so that I know, and tell me how it works for you. If it is the case, I recommend you the following steps so that you design a career that makes sense and makes you feel fulfilled for real. So the first thing is identify your interests and define the possibilities of capitalizing on them. Now, as a multipotential profile, you should be interested in many things, but not in all things equally. So the first thing here is to identify what interests you the most, what topics, professions, tasks, and bring them to a list with the rank of priorities. And then ask yourself, how can you monetize each one of those things? Number 2, observe your professional life and your current situation so that you know honestly what drains you, what energizes you, and how you really make benefit of all these things. Now, the best thing is to keep a diary for at least a month, so that every day you keep your notes of the task and how each one of them make you feel. Now, if your work is routinary, I don't think you need a month, maybe a week, and you will be already able to identify the information that you need to identify. Or if the opposite, if your job changes a lot, maybe more than a month, so that you select properly the different tasks and feelings around them. Now, the idea of this exercise is to identify what you would like to change. What of these things you would like to do less? What would you like to do more? And to ask yourself, how do I fill my agenda? Now, number 3, design your career. Now, a traditional career, choosing one thing is possible, but you will have to have many hobbies in parallel so that you feel fulfilled. So if you decide to go for this option, I recommend that you take the list of interests that you made before, and obviously select the one that ranks best in terms of interest and capitalization. But you also have the alternative that is called portfolio career. What is this? Well, it's about designing a life where you play different roles in different times. It can be mixed stationary jobs, or mixed part-time jobs, or part-time by remote jobs combining with stationary jobs. Let's get this with an example. You could also have the classic having several jobs in a week, which again is frowned upon, and society is going to be yelling at you different things, but for a multipotential profile, it makes all the sense in the world. So again, I'll give you an example. I have a client who is a ski instructor in the winter, he's a surf instructor in the summer, he travels frequently, but he has already made a contract with ski resorts and surf centers where he teaches every season, so he has built a security around this. Now, besides that, he is a content creator and graphic design expert, so he works as a freelance part-time by remote, and he also has fixed clients with whom he already has also recurring contracts. My client is happy. He earns very well. He has fun while he works. He capitalizes on his skills and interest and makes the most out of this multiple potential profile. Now, if you have a multi-potential profile, please again leave it on the comments and tell me especially how you are designing your career. And if you don't know how to, also tell me on the comments so that we see how to turn this around. Many thanks. I hope this is useful for you, or share it if you know it could be useful for somebody else. And especially, I'll see you in another episode for more mental programming for success.